reason.
All right, well, I'm super excited to be here in Newcastle. You know, I met somebody yesterday and they asked me, they said, whereabouts in America are you from? And I said, I'm actually from Canada. And he said, thank God. And then he said, where in Canada are you from? I said, I'm from a place called Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And he said, I have no idea where that is, but thank God.
Yeah, how many summers did I run? Like 10. I got a show out in London. When? With a clock in London, yeah, Big Ben. I have a watch face just like them. I mean, now I watch face like them. They make lyrics for who? Men. We make y'all come, then come again. Please write my father and tell him I found some fortune and fame. They're gonna try and behead me.
And so what I did was I want to grab a random business from the group here. I went on LinkedIn, I scrolled through Atomicon to see all the incredible posts that you have, and I fell upon this one post from Becky R. from North Row Studio. And this was an incredible post because she said, hey, I'm an introvert. What's some of your best networking tips as an introvert? Well, Becky, the best networking tip is have one of the headliners mention you and your company during the presentation. By the way, Becky from North Row, are you here? Just cheer. Just right there in the middle. Okay, Becky, this is gonna be your greatest day. So I want to help you out. So what Becky's company does, North Row's Studio, they create incredible websites, DIY services for small businesses in Carlisle, Cumbria. And so what I wanted to do, there's a couple people from Carlisle, there you go. What I wanted to do is help you out. I used one of the best AI agents in the world, Hermes AI Agent. It's an open source innovation. The reason why I love using Hermes is that it never stops. You give it a goal, it uses any large language model, and it just goes off and gets stuff done. I want to give it a hard task, which is I want you to find 1,000 companies in Cumbria. I want you to take screenshots of those companies. I want you to redesign the websites, or if they don't have a website, create a new one, and then email them that this is gonna be £2,000, and by the way, I've already redesigned this, I'm just gonna hand it over to you. That's what I did. But first, what I needed to do is I need to give it a soul. Usually when you work with any of these agents, you give it a soul. And a soul is simply an identity, a way of thinking about what your company's all about. So I gave it a soul, which was really about what North Row's Studio was all about, an incredible marketing firm. It went off and actually did hundreds of different websites. They couldn't find 1,000 in Carlisle. And then, I'm not sure why. And then, these are some of the websites. So this is an old website from a company. They're a tree surgeon in Carlisle. The Hermes agent redesigned it as this, which was incredible. And this is not AI Slop. This actually looks really great. It told me that it can only send 50 emails a day, otherwise my inbox would get shot. So Becky, I'm sorry, I only sent out 100, but I got 11 responses back, and that's about $22,000 in leads in my inbox. And Becky, I'm just here to ask you, am I hired? She's thinking about it. This is kind of, what you can do today. Let me give you another example. A couple of days ago, the New York Knicks won the NBA championship. And right after they won the championship, Nike just came out with this ad of this guy running through the street and essentially seeing the streets filled with New York Knicks fans. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to see if I could recreate this ad. So I went to Anthropic's large language model known as Claude. What's beautiful about these tools is that you can hook it up to other tools. So I hooked up Claude to this thing called Higgsfield, which is another creative tool. And I asked it, hey, I want you to analyze this ad and give me a master prompt around how I would be able to recreate this particular ad. And I thought, the only thing better than seeing the New York Knicks win the championship after decades would be to see England actually win the World Cup after 60 years, right? And this is what Claude and Higgsfield put together.
Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
I mean, it's not bad. And by the way, I I was prompting this, and every time I was prompting it, I would always get this one guy. I couldn't get it out of the edit. I'm not sure why. I'm not from this country. You can tell me who this is. I'm not really sure who this is. But anyways, I just kept on seeing him. Anyways, the reason why I'm showing you this is not that we should go off and recreate these ads using AI. That's not my point. My point is that when anybody can do this, when anybody in the world can do this, this actually raises the bar for marketing. I actually think that this is the greatest time to be a marketer. Because today, what's more important is how can you be authentic and genuine and truly, truly creative. And my belief is that in 2026, the most dangerous skill in the world is just coming up with an idea. Let me give you one more example. You know, we're here at the Glass House. This actually used to be called the Sage. And I thought, you know, I want to help out the accounting company. I said to another AI agent, Perplexity, I said, I want you to find every single job opening at Sage in the UK. I want you to find 30 candidates in the UK that align with that particular job, create a ranking platform around all those jobs, and then email all these candidates about this incredible opportunity at Sage. And what Perplexity is really good at is orchestrating all these different tasks together as well. And so what it ended up doing is creating this awesome ranking platform of all these real candidates across the UK. And this was the platform that it ultimately created. And then I was just scrolling through to see if I could find a really great candidate. And the one thing I want to tell you is please do not look at my tabs. This is embarrassing. Is anybody else like this, by the way? Wow, okay, I'm not alone. Why? Why do we do this, by the way? Oh my goodness. So I was looking up, by the way, sales executive, because we have a lot of sales professionals in this room, and I want to find a candidate that wasn't like on the hot list. They were kind of cold, but I wanted to see if I could find a diamond in the rough. And so I clicked on this individual's profile. His name was Perry Bragman. He actually lives in Newcastle. And I knew immediately that this guy was a good candidate because when I clicked on his profile picture, he had Microsoft in the background. And that's the type of salesperson that you want, that just takes a selfie. I am here. And they take a selfie and they make that their profile picture. I know that that's a good candidate. Of course, there's one task left, which is I want you to draft 690 emails in my email, and it drafted those up. If you're here from Sage, by the way, I can send those out. That'll be $70,000. But no, I want to take you back throughout history. You know, human beings have been on this planet for 300,000 years. And for 290,000 of those years, nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. All the technical innovations happened over the last 10,000 years. Why is that? It's interesting. Actually, if you take a baby today and you compare it to a baby that was born 300,000 years ago, it's the same intelligence. We had the same intelligence. And you are not smarter than a caveman. So what's the difference? What happened 10,000 years ago? Well, 10,000 years ago, we started to trade. We started to share our expertise. And somebody was on a farm, and instead of taking that information to a grave, they shared it with the next person. Everything that we have today, an iPhone, an airplane, a Labubu, is just billions of people passing the baton on over millions of years. That's what we've done. And civilization is just a giant group project that we all, fortunately, worked on. And I know some of you have been on a group project that hasn't worked out in the past. I know this. I love this quote from Ashley Noreen from her grad quote. She says this, when I die, I want the people I did group projects with to lower me into the ground so they can let me down one last time. So I know people have let you down, but the thing with AI is the greatest teammate that you'll ever have. It will never let you down. It will be on 24/7. And not only does it have the intelligence, but it's actually an expert that can get stuff done. And think about everybody in the world having access to this. It's going to create new possibilities and opportunities. Because AI is not going to take job, it's going to allow everyone to do any job. And this is what's going to open up incredible possibilities for us. My belief is that the number one skill set today is high agency and this ability to think bigger and bolder now that you have all these resources at your fingertips. We have all the resources that we ever needed at our fingertips. Today, anybody can create anything. And we need to think more dangerously. And my belief is that AI will never be able to think dangerously. You know, what's interesting is that there was a study that came out a couple of months ago where these researchers, they took a look at college admission essays, 370,000 college admission essays across the United States, pre-ChatGPT and after ChatGPT. And this was their findings, is that they found that after ChatGPT was born, the essays certainly got more creative in a sense. The words that people used were more diverse. The vocabulary was more diverse. But at the end of the day, the ideas became more homogeneous. Why? Because AI removes the dangerous ideas. That's what a smart person does. It removes any dangerous idea or any bad ideas. And this is why AI will never be able to come up with dangerous ideas, because it's not designed to do that. And so my belief is that we need to think more dangerously. And here's the thing with dangerous ideas. The most dangerous ideas look dumb at first. Every single dangerous idea that we've ever created throughout human history looks dumb at first. The internet. At some point, we all said, I don't want to put my banking information online, and then everybody did. You think about Uber. At some point, we said, I don't want to get in the backseat of this guy's car. What if he's a psychopath? And now we jump into backseats of psychopaths every single day. I want to ask you a question. How many people in this room, you have bought or sold something on Facebook marketplaces? Raise your hand for a second. Wow. Everyone. And you know, whenever you make that transaction, you're thinking to yourself, I really hope that that other person is not a serial killer. Every single dangerous idea looks dumb at first. And if you don't believe me, I'm going to show you a video from a couple of decades ago when credit cards were introduced. Yes, credit cards were a dangerous idea, and this is what people said about credit cards.
Cash or credit?
What? The home of the Whopper is offering cash or credit.
I think it's pretty bad if you have to use a credit card when you go to a fast food restaurant for something as little as $3.10.
If I use my GM card, I get a 5% rebate. If I eat here long enough, I'll be able to buy a pickup truck.
Burger King bosses say workers won't have to figure out how much change the customer gets back.
I just hope it doesn't slow things down at the cash and carry, that people are going to be having to call New York and get the confirmation or, you know, whatever it is, because when I want a Whopper, I want it now.
Just another way to spend money. I'm sure it'll work for people on vacation when they don't have to do something, but I can't imagine it working on a day-to-day basis here.
Well, the one thing that they got right is that when you want a Whopper, you want it now. That has never changed. And I love this kid, by the way, in the back. He was like, oh my God, I'm gonna change the world. They're talking about credit cards in the future, and I'm gonna change the world. And I actually tracked that kid down 40 years later, and he actually ended up being this guy. But listen, here's the thing with dangerous ideas. Dangerous ideas always look dumb until we look dumb. And this is why it's important not to disregard any dangerous idea or any dangerous technology. And this is why we need more dangerous thinkers. If you have a question, please go over to the mic, and more than happy to answer it. Anything, hair products, anything. And if you want to shout your question, we can do that too. But if you want to raise your hand too, you got a question up in front. I'll repeat the question, and then we have a question over there. Go ahead. I'll repeat the question.
You still want people to disagree with you?
Do I still want people to disagree with me? Yes, absolutely.
Okay. How do you respond to the many and very well-documented ethical issues with generative AI, given it's something that you're clearly promoting very hard?
Yes. You know, the way that this industry started was through theft. Unfortunately, what these large language model companies have done, they've taken a look at everything that we've created throughout human history. They've taken patterns around that data, and then they've put it in their own little boxes, and now they're selling it to us, and now they're asking us to buy their services. So I get where it came from. You're right. This industry started in an unethical way. Unfortunately, the genie is out of the bottle, and we can't put the genie back in. I can't change the past, unfortunately, but maybe there's an opportunity for us to correct the future and educate more people around where this data is from, and give credit to people that actually went off and created incredible content to get us to this point. So I really appreciate that question. It's a deeper discussion, but I really appreciate that. Okay.
I'm Scottish, I'm happy to shout.
You have actually, Scottish shout? Okay, great. Okay, perfect.
Hi there. Oh, that's us. So I'm a tailor. I work in an industry that's 200 years old. If you were giving me first three tips to integrate AI into what I do, because what I do is very personal. It's what you were talking about, the Hermes in the room, you know, it's person to person, it's connection, it's quality, it's luxury. What are your 3 tips to integrate AI into that?
Yeah, I love that. Well, I appreciate that. And I think I could understand your Scottish accent. It's a beautiful accent, by the way. The first tip that I have is to forget AI. The first tip that I have is to understand the challenges within your organization. That's number one. Because AI works best when you have problems. AI works best when you have challenges. So the more that you can understand what your problems are, the better that you can address those problems. So first start with the problems. The second is to understand the context of why you want to use some of these different tools. The third thing is I want you to take those problems that you have, go to any of the leading large language models and say, hey, these are my problems. Where would you start to use an AI agent to automate some of those things or to help us out? That's how I would use it. So don't start with the AI. Start with the problems, start with the context, and then ask the AI, how would you address some of these different issues? So that's how I would start. I really appreciate that question. Thank you. Okay, we got one more, we got 2 minutes. And I know we have, do we have anybody up here? We got a mic there? Do we got a mic? Okay, we got a mic. Look at her run, actually. That's incredible. Okay, there we go.
Hi, great presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, best tools, best questions. I'm trying to summarize the question, but how can we learn to ask the better questions to get AI to do the amazing things it can do and not just freshen up this email?
I appreciate that. Well, number one is that I think you have to ask dumber questions. Coming up with dumber questions is taking a look at that challenge in fundamentally different ways. It's taking a step back and saying, take a look at it through different personas. Take a look at it as yourself, maybe as an owner, or as an employee, or as a customer, or as another stakeholder. And try to ask yourself dumber questions, because my belief is the dumber the question, the more provocative the answer. And so I would say 90% of the time is focused on asking yourself really dangerous questions, and then maybe you'll get some really dangerous answers. But at the end of the day, like I mentioned, AI usually filters out some of those dangerous answers. So that's what I'd say. Just focus on coming up with questions, asking why, asking how, and that's how you start. So I really appreciate that. Now we have like 1 minute, maybe one quick question. Okay, I'm just looking at the person with the mic. Okay, this guy's standing up, so I mean, he really wants to answer the question. You want to shout? He? What's that? Oh. Okay, sorry, man. Somebody usurped you. Okay, go ahead from the top balcony.
Hi, my name is Carol Driver. I'm a journalist and I do PR. I get founders into the national press. With trillions of searches on AI to recommend businesses and founders, how important is PR to GEO? Yeah,
I love that. And by the way, if you see your name tags, that's the greatest PR move ever, because all the name tags are named after her. So actually, you're doing a great job. I only have 8 seconds, so I will say that I think PR is going to become incredibly more important, because in the noise of all this generative AI and all this media, I think the PR that can cut through the noise and really become authentic and genuine will be incredibly important. So kudos to you. This is one way to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, the work that you do is incredibly important. Thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it. Thank you.